Okay, thank you very much. So I'd like to welcome everybody to our virtual town hall. This is our first town hall meeting. We're planning 3 this year, but our first is virtual for the obvious reason of the pandemic. We have a number of board members and staff online today, though only 2 of us are visible to you. You will find brief bios of the board, staff, and volunteers, as well as our photos on our website under Meet the Team. So you may want to take a look at that at some point. Your co-hosts today are me, Laurey Gillies. I'm vice chair of the board and a member of the communications committee, and Sabrina Saunders, who is our CEO. Sabrina and I will give a bit of background to start, but we hope that you will be asking us questions as we go along. You may do so via the comments function. And just so you know, the comments will be public, so everyone will be able to see them, and they'll also appear with your name. We will try to get to all your questions during our session today. We're expecting the session to be 45 minutes, but you'll also be able to access it later since it will be recorded and available on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel. So the focus of our session today is on the year in review, which looks like this, and was sent out to you as part of the Blue Mountain Review, the May 6th issue. It was mailed to all households, and it's also available online on the website. The year in review covers 2019 as well as directions for 2020. It includes changes to our plans resulting from the virus. Guiding our actions is a 4-year strategic plan, which you all have seen before. And the plan is 2018 to 2022, and it has 4 goals: vibrant spaces, communications, organizational capacity, and service excellence. We are in year 2 of the plan, by the way. We also do an annual action plan, and it's similarly based on the 4 goals of the strategic plan. And it kind of looks like this. It's about 12 pages long for each year. So 2019 had 86 objectives, of which we accomplished 90%. And 2020 had 108 actions, but with the onslaught of the pandemic, we've had to suspend 22 of them, leaving us, well, coincidentally, back with 86. To date, we have completed 47%. I want to give you some highlights from the action plans and the year in review from both 2019 and 2020. So starting with vibrant spaces, this one was a bit of a challenge. Of the 22 items we identified that we've had to suspend in 2020, most relate to space. So we've also had some environmental issues with the Craigleith Heritage Depot, which Sabrina will address in a few minutes. Successes in terms of our vibrant spaces include the Creator Space project, which provides a digital arts lab to the community. This is our first foray into makerspace, but in a limited capacity, since our physical space in our facilities is a bit limited as well. Sabrina will provide more detail on this project in a few minutes as well. But we did manage to get a new roof installed on the Ellie Shore facility in 2019. And one silver lining, as it were, with the facility shutdown is that the interior of the Ellie Shore facility has been painted. So we will get ahead on that project. Perhaps most importantly, in terms of space, is we launched our virtual branch in 2019. And I say most importantly, because of the developments this year with the pandemic, that virtual branch has become an extremely important aspect of the library services, and for that matter, the museum services. And I know there's some work in terms of gallery services happening as well. Again, Sabrina will be discussing that later. In terms of organizational capacity, the third goal of the strategic plan, 2019 was the first year of a new board, and so we focused on orientation and training. We had 2 new board members join us a little later in the spring, and so our orientation extended a little bit longer than would be normal. to bring everybody up to speed. We also participated in a number of regional training sessions on governance and did a day-long training session last May to learn about fundraising and capital campaigns. In terms of communications, so now I can't count, this is the third objective. It's been a primary focus of the board both in 2019 and 2020. We developed an advocacy and communications plan to guide our actions last year and have been implementing them. We began key messages of the board, which follows every board meeting and focuses on the key decisions taken at the board. This can be subscribed to and received by email. You can also manually look for it as an attachment following the board meeting on the minutes and agenda page, as well as on the events calendar page. We've added Board Corner to newsletters. In 2019, we started regular updates to council through committee of the whole meetings. And of course, 2020 includes 3 town hall meetings to meet and chat with the community. This is our first today, and we will be proceeding with either virtual or in-person town halls, 2 more scheduled this year according to health agency recommendations and what we're in a position to actually do. Now I'm going to pass it over to Sabrina to comment on our 4th strategic goal, service excellence. And just before I do, I'd like to remind you that you can use the comments to ask us questions. So Sabrina, over to you.
Thank you, Laurey. So service excellence, again, we put in all of our statistics directly into our year in review document. So I won't go through those, but I do want to highlight 3 of them for you. And it's something we're quite proud of. The statistics comparator that happened across the province have come back, and that gives us a ranking of where we fit across the province. And in libraries of our size, so of a population serving similar to what the town of the Blue Mountains is, we are ranked number 1 in program attendance, number 2 in card holders, that's how many people have a card and use them, and number 3 in the circulation of print materials. So that tells me that we are using tax dollars wisely. We have high use in our numbers. We have high circulation of the materials, and we have a large portion of our community who is active with our GLAM services. So not just library materials, but using our museum services, attending our programs from the ACC, our Arts and Culture Presents programs, as well as using our virtual branch for all of our e-resources and of course the print materials on site. So I think that that's a really great feather in our cap, that it shows that we are working well to make sure that the dollars that the community is giving us to run our Blue Mountains Public Library are being used to the fullest. Another piece that I wanted to touch on is one program that is our Wired Wednesday. So we have many programs, as you know, that happened in 2019, but Wired Wednesday was a program that was actually requested by community members, and it came out of a consultation that we did in 2018, where we asked people what types of programs and services would you like us to expand on. And although we were talking about in a new facility, we realized that the technology support was something we could do today. So we have one staff member every week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. that runs a workshop that will teach you different pieces on technology or do a tech drop-in. So that's something that was extremely successful in 2019 and is continuing on in 2020, albeit a bit differently since it's now virtually, but is continuing on, is again still successful. One partnership that I will focus on, I know Laurey mentioned earlier, is the Blue Mountains Creator Space. So in 2019, we partnered with this group to develop this organization, a non-for-profit, the Blue Mountains Creator Space Digital Art Lab, and received from the Canadian Arts Council a grant for $225,000. We also put in $25,000 of our budget for capital purchases. And as a result, we were able to bring $50,000 of equipment directly into Ellie Shore that is now part of our collection and can be circulated. Over 2019, they did 87 programs, and that was just them kicking off in really the late summer and fall of 2019. So if you have not investigated the Blue Mountains Creator Space, there's a link right on our webpage. You can also get it directly by going to their site, and all of the materials are available for loan right here through Ellie Shore. And when our hold pickup starts up again shortly, those are materials that will again be able to circulate. And then one achievement that I wanted to focus on with our museum, also very successful, is our Real History series. So the Real History series are the 5 films that we have in our collection, as well as some making of films and some other pieces that we've done. I know the apple industry and the ski industry and the indigenous history was one that really went around the community. And then our 2 recent ones are our VR films, where you can dive the Mary Ward or you can walk a sacred path right here in the community, but also from the comfort of your home. So you don't need to get wet, you don't need to get hot and sweaty, and it's perfect for physical distancing. So we have won 2 awards for these. The first was from the Ontario Museum Association, where they gave us the Award of Excellence. And the second was from our minister's office. So the Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism, and Culture Industries, as they're now named. They gave us the Minister's Award for Innovation, and that had to do with our 2 VR films that were something that had such a level of accessibility as what they were focusing on, that anybody would be able to participate in local history. So those are some of the highlights of 2019 from the service end. As you know, we have many, many programs that were completed in 2019. And again, really proud of just how well we're ranking compared to others in the province and the use and support by our community. If you'd like, I can move right on to some of our service updates as the GLAM on what we're doing now in 2020 as it relates to the pandemic, because as you know, we have had to make some changes to be able to keep our services active and engaging with the community while we're all in our various states of lockdown. So from a library end, I know a lot of people have said, I had a library card, I don't know where it is, maybe it's at the other house, or you don't know what your PIN number is. So we have been actively giving out the information to people so you can access our virtual branch. And then those who had expired or lost their card or maybe never had a card, we've been giving many, many cards out now. And actually our staff are regularly coming into the building because we keep running out of new cards. So we're excited that people keep requesting new cards so they can access our materials, and please continue to do that. You can call us if you have a question about how to access our virtual branch and what your library information is. If you don't have a library card, you can go right to our virtual branch and apply online, and we will get you set up with a temporary card. So no ID needed during this period. We certainly don't want people photographing and sending off any sensitive information over email. So we will take care of that right through a secure form and provide you with the ability to get on and access the hundreds of thousands of content material that we have right on our virtual branch. When it comes to our programming, we also didn't want anyone to say that we don't have programs anymore. So we've really stopped and thought about how do we move forward with having the same high quality programs, but doing it via distance. And Facebook and Instagram and YouTube were the answers. So we moved forward with taking all of our standard programs and redesigning them for the immediate future and most likely for some period to come. So our story times are now online, our seniors exercise is back, we have yoga again, our book clubs are meeting online, the Wired Wednesday is happening online. We also have a number of museum programs that have moved to online. So they have Museum Mondays, Clues Day Tuesday, the Museum Show and Tell, and the Museum Talk and Sketch. And all of those are showcasing the various physical and virtual collections of the museum. So these are really opportunities to keep accessing your materials in your museum. Importantly, we understand that our facilities are more than just where the materials are stored. It's a community hub. So we've tried to really think out of the box on how we can continue to provide our Ellie Shore and CHD community hubs back to our residents here in the town of the Blue Mountains. So what we've done is we've established through social media channels and through various platforms like Zoom, a social hour, and we're going to be adding more of these as we go. So this Tuesday, just passed, we launched our coffee time, and it is 1 hour where there's no programming. It's just a chance for people to socialize, get together, share a cup of coffee, and talk safely from your homes, but being together again. So we know that because the pandemic has all of us locked down to protect our physical health, we still need to maintain our mental health, and we're happy to be able to support that. So all of these programs are available right through our events calendar on the website. Don't miss anything. Most of them are kept up on Facebook or on Instagram where they're originally posted. And a bunch of those where we can with copyright and other issues, we're also posting them on our YouTube channel. So you can find those right through your typical social medias by looking at the Blue Mountains Public Library and their search engine to find them. When it comes to the gallery, again, we know the facility is closed. We haven't been able to put up a new show in a few months, but we have looked at what we can do online. So our April show, which was supposed to be your brain on digital art here in the gallery at Ellie Shore, we moved that to be a completely virtual show. So that's still available online, and you can find that by coming right to our main website or by going to the Creator Space to link from there. And we're working with our Arts and Culture Council right now, the ACC, to be able to bring back the many programs that they were doing, the ACC Presents. So that's our travel talks and our history talks and everything having to do with arts and culture that we used to have in the gallery. We're looking to be able to put those online until it's safe for us to gather again. So that's it for the basic updates. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions that we can answer directly. If not, we've been hearing from the public and we have a whole slew of questions that we can address at this time as well.
Well, Sabrina, there is a comment here from Chris Clark saying, don't forget the military heritage on Thursdays. Would you like to comment on that?
So we have, like I said, we have so many programs. I did pick a few. Thank you, Chris Clark. Chris is actually the chair of the Museum Advisory Council. So thank you so much for reminding me of that one. All of these are available right on the events calendar of our website. And I really encourage you to take a look. The links are there, so you don't have to figure out where to go on which website. Everything is right there on our page, and it will bring you directly in. We have so many different programs, and some that have a different topic from week to week that then you can even select, is this maybe the day or the week that I want to participate. And again, if you're not available on a Tuesday when a program is being held, you can always go back to YouTube and watch it there, or go back to the platforms such as Facebook or Instagram and just scroll through, find it, and play it back. All of these are staying up for as long as we can, so they're still going to be around in the future.
Good. You'll notice that we're having links being posted in the comments section as we're speaking to give you a place to go to follow up on these different topics as we discuss them. Sabrina, I wonder if you would talk some more about the virtual branch. I emphasized it as something that was so important to have been introduced. I know you've been talking about some of the programming, but there's so much more that's going on with the staff keeping busy, trying to keep that virtual branch interesting in so many different ways. Would you talk about that some?
Certainly. So we did not lay off our staff. Most of our staff are still actively working the same hours that they were before. They're just working from home to develop some new materials. So that's our programming end. But the virtual branch is something that we had before COVID-19 and before the pandemic, but I think more people are actually finding out about it now. So last year in 2019, we relaunched our entire website, and we made a focal point right on the main page, a link that says, an icon that says virtual branch. And we have 3 branches is the way we look at it. We have the Ellie Shore branch, which is our main site. We have the Craigleith Heritage Depot, which is a museum predominantly, and then also has a smaller collection of our library materials. But then we also have a virtual branch, which you can find right from our website, and it's 24/7. So on that virtual branch, if you click on the link, there are a number of icons that are sort of our favorites or our featured that are there. And to the left, and you can see we have a bunch of those icons. Laurie's holding it up on the year in review. Just a few teasers to give you an idea of what's there. If you look to the left of the actual website, there is a sidebar, and within those various topics, there are 177 links. So if you are looking for materials to read and you say, I can't get to the branch because it's not open, we have about 30,000 materials here between Ellie Shore and CHD, but then we have over 180,000 materials that are just books on our Hoopla and our Libby app, and we have more on there as well. In addition to that, if you're a local history buff and you want to be able to find information about our community, there's BiblioBoard on there. We've just put up a few virtual exhibits into BiblioBoard having to do with Ellie Shore, the gentleman who one of our branches is named after. We're also working with our local Legion to be able to put up materials about veterans from World War I. That's going back to what Chris Clark was just noting there. It's the 150th anniversary of our fall fair, and we've been working with them for the past year to get our queens and various materials from the 150 years, photographs and all kinds of information up there. So that's something that you may want to take a look at. If you're looking more for children, we have a number of materials that are on there, from homework help, which we know all of the parents need that right now. We're all being forced to be teachers if you have little ones at home. Also, there's tumble books and many audiobooks for children that are on there. There's also from the education end, lynda.com is new in 2019. We're really happy to have that in, where you can learn just about anything on lynda.com. So various types of self-help type materials, webinars and tutorials. I know with the new Teams being where everybody is connecting in, we've all here as a staff taken one of the workshops to learn more about how to use Teams successfully so that we can continue to have meetings and support the community. So please check out our virtual branch. We've had just in the past few months, the first 3 months, we had over 6,000 people visit that virtual branch. So it is a very active site for us. And all of the links to your favorite materials will be there.
Great, thank you. So I'm at home and I want to access a virtual branch. I want to get help with accessing ebooks and audiobooks, but I'm struggling. So how can I get help with my technology in order to take advantage of all these things?
Well, we have people for that. So that is a great question. The first thing I would say is always give a call or email our tech staff at Library Tech, and that will be a link that will come up in the Facebook, I'm sure, shortly, as we have someone posting for us. If it's a 2 a.m. and you're in the middle of trying to do something and you're looking for a book, I know I tend to be doing them at weird hours like that. Obviously, the email might not be your first option. You may want to look at our Blue Mountains Public Library YouTube page, where we have short videos that will say how to problem solve something, or how to access your ebook, or what happens if I'm getting a login error. So those types of things are there. But those of you that have been working with Ashley for our tech drop-in and phone calls and emails, you know that she's very responsive by email and will continue to help you get through any problems. If you're having major problems with the technology, then you may want to actually book a time with her. And the best way, again, would be to email over email, that Library Tech email, and she'll set a time. If it's a case where you can handle it over the phone, that's great. If you need to move to something that typically would be sitting at a table together and working through the problem, sharing the technology. We can do that through a virtual meeting. So we can both log in, you can share the screen, she can see exactly what's happening on your device, and then she can walk you through it so that when it happens again, you know what has happened and you know how to fix it in the future. So lots of opportunities. Please, we know technology is really the most important thing right now with all of the locking down of our communities and not having that social opportunity. So do not go without the technology that you have because of a bug or not knowing how to access it. We can help you with that.
Great, thank you. So a reminder to our audience that you can ask us questions through the comments, and we will come back to any questions that you have. And in the absence of questions from you guys, we'll just keep chatting.
Laurey, there's one piece that kind of falls off of that question about technology. And I know it's been something that we've heard, especially from some of our seniors. They might be a bit scared to join Facebook. They've heard sort of the nightmares of it's all encompassing. I post a picture and it can go anywhere. We've been working with people so that you actually have access to Facebook and we can create accounts with you, but then really lock it down. So Facebook is what you make of it. If you don't want to be online and posting pictures and doing those types of things, then don't. But at the same time, most of the programs that we're offering, most of the social gathering opportunities that us and others are using are going to be through that platform. So what we can do is book an appointment with you, again, through Library Tech. You will do all of the passwords and those pieces, but we can walk you through how to do it and help you to establish an account that has all of the privacies locked down. You don't have to invite anyone to join you, but then if you choose to participate in programs like Seniors Exercise, you can log on, do it live right there with the group of other seniors who are working with Sharon to do their weekly workout. So we don't want anyone, because of an aversion maybe to some of the technology, not to take that step of where these services are. So certainly feel free to send us an email or call us and we'll follow up with you and see if maybe that's an option that would work for you and still be something that you're comfortable with.
Great. Can I move off to a slightly different topic and ask you what's happening with the Craigleith Heritage Depot?
So I'm so happy to announce that our radon situation has been mitigated. As many of you know, on October 24th of 2019, it has been months, we had to close the facility because it was determined that we had a quite significant radon situation in the basement and in specifically the collection areas. So we locked down the building, we worked with the town, and we were able to do the repairs and what needed to happen in the building to mitigate that situation. So all of our numbers are clear at this point. We have one final test that is being completed actually at the end of May. And at that point, we will be officially able to call it cleaned. In the meantime, though, our staff are now doing the work, working closely with the town staff to reorganize the collection, to get things cleaned and painted and finish sealing any cracks in the basement so that it doesn't come back in the future. And then we'll be able to start looking at reopening the Craigleith Heritage Depot. As reopening goes, that is having to do with the radon piece. Of course, that's not having to do with the pandemic. So opening the depot from a health and safety standpoint, where we're clear and now we're going to start putting the building back together. And next will be how things will be happening pertaining to the pandemic and health and safety in that end.
Great.
If you have any questions though about the CHD, we do have a website that is up on our Facebook comments now, and there's an FAQ, a frequently asked question. So any questions that I get, I've been posing back with the answer, and it's a great way to just keep track of how things are going. And when we have some more good news stories to report, we'll be posting those there as well.
Great, thank you. Well, since you've, since we've mentioned buildings, I just wanted to comment that in terms of the building expansion, timing and questions. We know the town is working on its needs in terms of culture hubs for East, West, and rural. And there are two studies that are scheduled to be completed in the 2020, that's hard to say, 21 timeframe, the master facilities plan and a recreation plan. And of course, the library is a very important partner with the town, and we will be involved in these studies and happy to work with the town on them. And so any future plans for the library and locations around the town will be informed by these studies. So I just wanted to mention that item. And that takes me, I wanted to go back to creator space because again, that's part of the, I guess an initial foray for us into makerspace. It's a very exciting project, and we've just heard that we have grants that will continue it for a couple more years. So maybe you could talk something about that, Sabrina.
Certainly. So the Blue Mountains Public Library is a lead partner with the Creator Space. And as Laurey mentioned, we knew we had to bring in makerspace options, but it takes a lot of space and it's not something that we could do here at Ellie Shore and certainly not at CHD. And it is one of the main pieces that we know if there are library expansions would be included. But again, we didn't want to wait to do things for facilities to materialize. So we looked to partners to see what we could do on a limited fashion. So that's how we developed the 2019 proposal to the Canadian Arts Council, and were successful for the original $225,000 with a $25,000 investment on our end was a total of a $250,000 project. That was a pilot. And it really was looking at how do we bring the digital arts into our community. So it's fantastic because the people who are professionals have opportunities to play and dabble with maybe new technology that they were considering if they should purchase, but you don't want to buy a new camera only to find out it doesn't do exactly what you were looking for, or it's more than what you needed. But on the other end, we've been able to offer through the Creator Space camps for children that are learning how to use some of this technology for the first time. And we've also had quite an uptake from our regular library users here who had never considered doing art or technology in this end, that are now taking all of the workshops. They've been certified to take out the materials, the equipment, and they borrow them on a regular basis right here from Ellie Shore. So if you haven't seen the art exhibit that was the April show that is online, that is actually a compilation of a lot of the work that was done over 2019 in those different 87 workshops that they did. And then, you know, some people borrowed things and made some things on their own and submitted in for the show. So moving forward, we've just actually heard that there is a grant that we put in for the next 3 years. It'll get us through the back half of 2020, into 21 and into 22. And that has been approved again by the Canadian Arts Council for over $300,000 this time. So again, Blue Mountains Public Library is a key partner in that, and we'll be holding significant amount of workshops right here at Ellie Shore, as well as around the town. So we understand that Thornbury is not the only place where people want to do workshops. So we'll be doing some workshops in other locations as well, in Craigleith, in Ravenna. So really happy to be able to expand the program. We understand that it may be a bit of time before we're back together and doing workshops in large rooms again. So the Creator Space and Blue Mountains Public Library are working together really to make sure that whatever we were doing before, we can still offer the same type of services in a virtual format. And when the building opens for limited access, it'll then be available for more of a one-on-one workshop as well.
Excellent. It's a very exciting project and very creative. I was so impressed when I realized you could, once you had your training, you could actually borrow something like a professional grade camera. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, we have several cameras and lighting kits and tripods and sound equipment, and there'll be a number of the MacBooks that'll be coming here to actually Ellie Shore with stations that you can, pop in whenever we're open again and work directly on them to do some editing as well.
Yeah.
So really excited about moving forward with this project.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Very creative. Appropriate name, Creator Space. I just mentioned the possibility of borrowing camera, and that kind of leads to the question of when might some initial reopening happen at the library? We know it's been provincially enabled at this stage, but there's lots of steps before anyone can do anything. So I know you're on top of this, so go shoot away.
Okay, I know that is the burning question for most people right now. So we have really been following what the premier sort of coined the phrase of it is a roadmap, not a calendar, because we know that things are changing on a daily basis. So we don't want to commit to something that we can't do safely. So while the government has offered the HOLD program, what they're referring to as curbside pickup for libraries, could start on May 19th, and some of our other, community partners in other places have started. We opted to take a pause and really watch to see how things are going and to assure that we can do this safely. So we have opted not to start our HOLD program until the first week of June. We will be putting more information out about that. And of course, that is contingent on the province saying that we can continue to do that, as well as Grey Bruce Health Unit feeling that how it's being done around our two counties is being done safely. So a few things that we've done with this is we've changed the way we were doing holds. It will be outside again, but we've actually purchased book bins, so big Tupperware containers. Thank you, Dollarama. And we will be putting each person's materials basically encased in these containers. So when you come, you can pop it open, you take your books, and that way there is no contamination. It's important to know that the virus can live on our materials for up to 3 days, 72 hours. So that's why we opted to really take a pause and figure out how this can be done safely. While we were in the spring putting our materials right on a book cart, the more information that came out in March after we had shut down and they started talking about library materials, and the CDC did a workshop with us in April saying it can last up to 72 hours on your books and DVDs. We wanted to make sure there's no chance that the person who's grabbing the book next to yours has contaminated your books. So that's our way of doing it. Also, when you do your materials, everything goes through the book drop. We're using full protective equipment when we take them out of the book drop. We will check them back in, but then importantly, they're quarantined for 72 hours. So you will never get a book before at least 4 days before it gets to you, so that we can guarantee the safety of our community. It's important we're making sure our staff are safe from a health and safety and a workplace safety piece, but we also want to make sure that there's no chance that we're doing anything that could impact our community. So we want our library materials to be healthy and safe and good for your mental health, and not something that you're worrying about, is there a potential of contamination? So that's how we're going to do it. At this point, our plan is that we will be opening for the Holds pickup on Tuesday, June 2nd, again, barring any major issues with the province. We will be doing it 3 days a week. So it'll be from 10 in the morning until 4 o'clock. You can pop in here right out by the back door and grab your materials. And it'll be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And that gives us a chance to work in the building on the off days. Again, physical distancing, we can only have so many people working in the building at a time for safety. They will prep the materials, they'll make sure everything has been decontaminated, and then they will push them out for our community to be able to use. Future stages of opening, again, no time, it's a roadmap, but we anticipate that the buildings will both be opened at different times based on what we can do in them. So CHD will have a very specific plan of how you can visit the museum, because you can't physical distance there. So one carload, one group of people who are already considered a bubble would be able to access the museum. They would be able to do their tours and do all of those pieces. Our staff will then clean the facility and allow the next group to be able to join. Ellie Shore will be a bit different, since it is more of a browsing opportunity that we'll be doing, and then eventually getting to seating and sitting, and somewhere way down the line, we'll be back to programs and doing things, you know, in the gallery where we used to have 100 people coming for a movie night. So all of these things will come back, but we're going to make sure that the utmost care and thought is happening from the safety of our staff and the safety of our community. For materials though, Laurey, one thing that our staff has come up with an idea, and I'm really happy with this. I am not a search online for a book kind of gal. I like to browse. I like to see the display cases. I get some ideas. I go to my favorite, you know, areas, and I used to be known as polishing the floor, where I would sort of sit down and just keep moving inch by inch, reading over books with my rump. For the people that don't want to go online and search what the newest book is, we're going to be setting up display windows here. So we are taking out all of the seating, the window seats right around Ellie Shore, and each of our windows are going to become a window display. So we hope you'll do your window shopping, find some books in the window. You can then request that book right on our website or through our Holds program, either way you wish to go, and we'll get that book for you and it'll go out to the Holds program. So we're going to have lots of windows with different themes. So we have the gardening window that we're starting to put together, where if you want to find out any information on gardening, we've got a number of books there and you can pick the one you want. We know people are struggling with what to cook for meals, especially when sometimes there's meat in a store and sometimes there's not meat in a store. So what are some of those flexitarian type dishes that maybe we should all be looking at? So we have that as another window. Board books for parents, teaching materials, and you know, the whole parenting area. I have a 16-year-old at home, and I am a teacher by trade, but it's hard even on me to be able to work out the teacher responsibilities balanced with parenting. So all of those types of things, in of course, all of the new materials and favorite materials you'd be looking for will be there for those that just want to maybe browse and window shop and then be able to figure out what book you want. So those will be coming up next week. So it'll be there just a few days before our Holds program opens. And you don't have to wait. If you know what you want, get on the Holds list, because we know that it's going to be a really busy service. In March, we were putting out a few hundred books every day. So we know that we're going to be well used again from this Holds program.
There's a question in terms of the Holds program. Jesse Hunter is wondering if there's a limit to what I can take out at one time. Excellent question, Jesse. So when we did it in March, we did actually put a limit on it, but that's because we were using the Hold cart, a very small little cart. So we were asking people not to take out, 10 or 15 books that might take up a whole row of a cart. Because we're doing it as the book bins, and you will find many tables outside the back door of the library, it's not going to have any Hold restrictions. So you can take out as many items as you want. You can, take out what you need and put your Hold in right away for the next batch as well. So definitely no limits there. The one difference, though, I will say between the Holds program and what we used to do, we used to keep them for 1 week on the shelf. We are asking people that if you are placing a Hold, that you're going to come and get them within those 2 days. So if it goes out on Tuesday and then the next day would be Thursday, at the end of Thursday when we bring them back in, we're going to check them in and send them to the next person. So if you can't make it in the time that you have been told to come in to get your books, don't panic. We understand life gets in the way.
just let us know. We can hold them a bit longer. We can, you know, work an arrangement for people that need it. We just don't want you to miss your chance for the book that you're looking for because you didn't know. And our staff will be calling so that you're going to know when it's your day to come in. So there's going to be a personal phone call from one of your staff here at Ellie Shore who are going to be taking care of the holds program. So you don't have to question, should I come and look? You'll know the phone call will be left as a message saying your books are here. They'll be available on Tuesday, and pop in and pick them up between 10 and 4.
This question just occurs to me, Sabrina. What's happening with Interlibrary Loan?
So Interlibrary Loan is a bit out of our hands, but we are going to be reopening the Interlibrary Loan program again as soon as we know that there are enough of the libraries back and open. So Interlibrary Loan shut down in March, but it wasn't a case that we had to shut it down by the province like what happened before with funding. This was a case that so many libraries laid off staff that you just couldn't move books back and forth anymore. So when all of our staff in our communities are back and doing their thing and we have that ability to do it, we'll be opening it. We are looking at opening in June when we do the holds, but again, it's a bit out of our hands because we still need to make sure that there's other libraries to borrow from. We don't want to just be sending books out. We want to be bringing them into you as well. So I am anticipating it will be sometime in June that most libraries are ready to participate. But again, we have one website where I put all of this information, and I do encourage you to check it regularly. It is off of our services page, and it's service update and COVID-19. And there are little arrows, accordions, where you can click on the most recent topic. I put them by date. You never have to question what's the oldest material. And you can see all of sort of those press releases that we've made back since March when all of this began. And we'll be posting there, you know, what are the rules for pickup for holds? When are we planning to open? When we do open, how are people going to be safe in the building? You know, masks are probably something that I'm assuming we're all going to be wearing, staff and our community members. Even though we're still following the 2 meters, we know that there's sometimes when things happen, little 2-year-olds get away from a mom and run away, and you can't not stop a 2-meter situation when the 2-year-old is running at you. So wearing masks for that purpose are really going to be key. So all that information will be on that website for people.
I see there's a question, are holds only for books?
No, so DVDs, audiobooks, and once we're back up and running, we're going to also be working with the Creator Space materials as well, which are held here at Ellie Shore. Obviously, I won't be putting that $5,000 camera outside the door and telling someone to pick it up in the next 2 days, but we'll be setting appointment times for those. So you will also be able to request the holds on our Creator Space equipment that we circulate. Again, providing you have already been certified to use the equipment through the various workshops that are offered. So if you're not, you may want to look at our website to be able to find some new dates to be certified on that equipment as well. But please think of everything that we have in the building. I don't think there's much of a need for the snowshoes anymore, but all of the materials that we have here will circulate.
Great, thank you. On another topic, I know there have been, there was a question anyway about the board meetings and being open to the public and the challenge the pandemic has placed on that. And I just want to say that board meetings continue to be open to the public. They're being run virtually on Microsoft Teams, and the dates and times of the board meetings are published on our website. They're generally the third Thursday of the month at 2 p.m. Though we are not meeting every month, the Public Libraries Act did shift somewhat recently to enable boards to meet up to a minimum of 7 times a year, I believe. And in fact, we have just decided not to meet in June, but we'll be meeting in July. But the public can participate in these meetings. You have to get login information directly from our CEO. So that really that's a security thing, because if we just post it on the website, then that means really anybody can get in, and we want to make sure that it's someone who's there legitimately. I'm not sure if I'm saying this very well, but a community member, someone who's interested in the library board and not there to do something nasty like was happening with some Zoom meetings for a while.
Hacking has been an issue, and people are using it to actually get into backdoor ways of computer systems of the host, which would be us, Blue Mountains Public Library, and the town server. So that's why we've done that. Is it really is a protection from that end.
Great, thank you, thank you. All right, so you can get the credentials to sign on from Sabrina. You email the library CEO address, and she will be able to get that information out to you. Deputations are being handled exactly as they have been in the past, so that information is on our website and how to do that. And of course, public input to the agenda is also open to anyone who wants to speak on items that are on the agenda. Just wanted to make sure people were aware of that, because I know all of this virtual and electronic stuff can be a barrier, and we don't want it to be.
And if I can add on to that, Laurey, just so people know that we are using, like you said, Microsoft Teams, there's also a phone option. So you can't see the package, you can't see all of our faces, but I do post the packages we're working through. But if you wanted to listen, and if you wanted to participate as a deputation or participate in that public input, you don't need to have internet. You don't need to log in that way. It is a 1-800 phone number, no cost, that you can participate. So certainly let me know, and I give the credentials for both.
Great, good, thank you. So just want to remind people, we're running past our timelines. So if you have any questions, please jump in now and get them into the comments so we can address them. And in the meantime, I just want to mention that this year was to be our 25th anniversary. Well, it is the 25th anniversary of the Ellie Shore building. And we had hoped to do a number of celebratory events this year. And all of them, of course, have been postponed. We postponed the golf tournament, for example, the gala, which was scheduled for December. So please watch for plans for our celebration, which is postponed as opposed to permanently canceled, and hopefully we can do something in 2020. And before we sign off, still keeping an eye if there's any other questions to come, I'd like Sabrina to ask you if you have any final comments.
Certainly. I think I've pushed the idea that Facebook is nothing to be afraid of. So certainly if you have a family or a friend who you think would benefit from having Facebook in the way we've discussed here, really a lockdown opportunity for them to only use what they want, please reach out. The province is opening up, our community is beginning to open up a bit, but we know that even if we're told that we can open up and lighten up some of these levels of lockdown, we're going to be in this situation for quite a number of weeks and months, possibly a year. So we want to make sure that there is nobody out there that is isolated. And the Blue Mountains Public Library is a community hub. We've always been a community hub. And just because you can't come in and experience the building and share that relationship doesn't mean we're not here to support our community members. So please, share what you've heard here, share the link, tell people to come and visit and hear this presentation on YouTube, or coming back to the Facebook page and watching it. And know that regardless of how many people are on at the time that you are watching, right now it says that there's 19 people that are watching at this particular moment. Our usage has been going up significantly. So for Wired Wednesday, I'll use that as an example. Ashley will do 4 Wired Wednesdays a month, every Wednesday, on average, 4 of them. and she might have 4 people on a day or 10 people on a day. But over the month of April, where she would have had about 20 people live watching it at the time it was recorded, we've had 1,771 views back in that month of April of those same pieces. So we know that while 19 people, thank you very much for joining us live, did that, we know that over the next month and weeks, more people are going to see this, and hundreds of people will probably come back to this page and watch it and share it. So please continue to share all of the great work that we're doing for our community, and join us as often as you can. And be healthy and be safe.
And thank you to Sabrina, you and your staff for all the good work and all the hard work, keeping things going for us at the library, museum, and gallery. It's been great. We're very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you.